Peace, everyone. All apologies for my late offerings to the self portrait discussion space. So, for me, thinking about practicum, and um, I wouldn't say that there have been like tangible expressions of like, art or creative making that have happened like on a consistent basis. Um, I just haven't had the time, but I have thought about just this whole path and the different works that have come out as a result, kind of charting this journey for me. And I feel like, practicum, getting to that place, you have all of these different steps that you've taken that have led, to this. And, with me, creative making could be like singing, it could be, just moving organically or dancing or meditation, yoga. Like it's a lot of things that may not be tangible or that I haven't had the moment to capture. But one thing that I have found myself doing is that when cards speak to me, like if I'm in Trader Joe's or something, if cards speak to me, I pick them up because usually it's a message for me or it's what I want to dedicate my altar to. And that's, I guess that would be, I would say that that would be something that has been an arts practice for me is altar building. I really do. It's something that brings me joy. It's something that I really do. I really appreciate, just the symmetry that's involved and everything having its place and you being guided as to what is to be there. And even with the edits, like I really love building altars. I really do. So, my daughter has one that has her crystals, a picture of her papa, and just postcards and different things that are special to her right now on her altar. And I will include a picture of mine right now, what it's looking like. Um, but yeah, I'll just kind of go through some things. So these are cards that I came across. So this I saw shopping one day and it just simply said new home. And it resonated with me because it was like, here's, this is the new home that's like on the horizon, like on the way. So that has been on my altar, has pretty much lived on my altar. Um, this is a recent one, Go with the Flow. And I just really loved the art and just what it was saying to me at the time. It was a message that I needed to get in that moment. Like just go with the flow. There's nothing for you to try to control. There's nothing for you to try to find out. Just kind of go with the flow. Um, and this one doesn't have any text on it, but I really loved it because it was, just a woman kind of designing her surroundings like as she goes. And I didn't notice that until probably after I've had it padded for a couple of months. Like, oh shoot, she's painting this as she's going. So this was a completely white space and it became whatever she chose to fill in it, so fill the space with. So that is something that I do. I collect, cards and put them on my altar, or it might be just the art itself, get a magnet, put it on the refrigerator, put it in the bathroom. And then I revisited my Tree of Life. And I think this was the first one that we did at our first intensive. And I remember being real nervous about it. It was like a lot of the things that I was putting on it, it seemed like it was this opportunity to really give words and space to everything that I wanted to be. And you realize in those moments how much a responsibility that is. And then even going back and reading this, realizing that a lot of the things that were true at the time are completely different now. You have all these ideas, these concepts of what you want your life to be, how you want everything to fall. And then you read it and you realize, well, yeah, the main idea is definitely consistent, but a lot of the people that are in my front row, like on my tree, are not, they were in my life at that moment and they are important players, but they're not in my life at this time right now. Um, yeah. And now I think things are a little more grounded in a firmer understanding and idea of what I want to create. We're here. I was kind of just pulling from a lot of hopes. There was a lot of fear, there was a lot of doubt, and I was kind of pushing myself through. It's like fake it until you make it. And now I'm in a place of like, no, I don't have to fake it. Like, it's happening. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then this was like, yeah, this was a picture that I did. I don't know if you can see it, but it was like my first instruction of identifying individual layers. And I chose this because I remember I saw the picture. It was like I was doing transcription, like you see a postcard and you would transcribe what was on the postcard onto paper the best that you could. And I was like, I cannot draw that. Like, I'm not a very literal creator. Like, I just kind of like to see what comes out. So for me to have to draw a picture of something that was already existing, and I was like, there's no way I can do that. And as going through the process of just looking at the picture and adding the layers, adding exactly what I saw, I was really amazed at the end product because I wasn't focused on how it was looking. I was really in the process. So this was like the first time that I got a taste of what the process feels like, rather than focusing like how perfect the picture is. So that was important, definitely important time. This one we just did at the past intensive, and I didn't realize how much I really liked working with tape and black paper. Who knew? I really do like working with tape and black paper, and realizing that it made this sort of design that almost looks like sun rays. And then also just how much how similar it is to textile, which I always love. And on it says we have to move through in order to get to. Originally it said we have to go through in order to get to, but I had to like retract that because I don't know that it's necessarily about going through something or suffering in order to get to where it is that we need to go. So I offered this during I think it was the laundry exercise or the clothesline exercise that we did with Danielle, which was really great. So that, and I don't know if this is a part of a series, but I guess it is. This is called Orisha's March. And all of these figures here, 1, 2, 3, 4, are all different deities in Orisha that are kind of marching. And I don't know if this is like, it's like a procession. Them moving through, everyone kind of benefiting from their energy and from their frequency and from their guidance and their wisdom and their light, shining a light into the darkness. Not to quote Black Star, but it always just seems to come up. So yeah, that's this. And then a lot of my work, like when I'm doodling, ends up looking like textiles. So this is one that I did called Anansi's Eye, and it was like, it's reminiscent of so many things, the womb space, new babies to be brought forth, whether that's physical, creative, but it also reminded me of like traditional African fabric. Like, it looks like something that I would want to see on a dress or a head wrap or pants or a jacket. So that was, and I was working in like blues, blacks, whites, and like golds and tans for a while. So I would say that those were inspired like around the same time. And then this was a piece that I did for, I think it was Human Development, and it kind of summed up this like honoring the whole being. And it was inspired by ink blots, but then I just started to build around it. So this one's a very special one to me. And then also just how reminiscent it is of the white chalk that's used in a lot of traditional African and ceremonies from the Latin and African diaspora. The chalk that you might see on like in tribal makeup or in a lot of the artwork. I think this is why this aesthetic jumps out to me so much, as far as working on like dark paper with like a very white or light colored chalk. yeah, shining the light into the darkness. It just keeps coming back to that. Um, this was another piece that I did for human development that was inspired by the ink blots. It started out that way, and then I just kept messing around with it until I got something that looked like textured paper. But again, this was also like a textile. I'd want this on a t-shirt, you know. Yeah, I definitely would want this on a t-shirt. So, and then it just kind of kept growing and growing. And, you know, I was playing with a lot of different shapes. And some of it, you know, the words that come up are layered, muddled. But I wouldn't say muddled anymore. I would just say like layered. There's so many different things that I really want to do um, in reference to this work. But what I've been finding that I really want to focus on, especially for practicum, if there's some sort of way that I can incorporate healing nutrition with the population that I'm working with. I'm really thinking about women in transition who have either just gotten out of prison or they're in a program where their children were removed from their home for different reasons, and they have to reconnect with their own, or not even connect, just establish what self-care is to them, and learning how to be nurturing women, learning about healing nutrition, how to prepare food, how to like what shopping even looks like for them, what you know, like going and buying groceries, and knowing that whether they receive EBT, food stamps, SNAP, or whatever, working with a limited budget, that they can get good quality, like organic ingredients, and make like simple foods. I'm thinking about like even holding space to bring food to, you know, where we meet, like just giving them teas, you know, beautiful teas that are scented beautifully, that are sweetened perfectly and have a perfect level of acidity, and that giving them that as just, that's almost like our ceremony, you know, that being that warm spirit that you offer someone. I've been thinking about like working with food a lot and using that as medicine with the population that I'm working with. Since it's something that I do for people that I care about and love, I tend to show my love and care through preparing foods or drinks, libations, things to put on the skin for people that I love. So that's also been a part of my practice, and the opportunity that I get to kind of put on an apron and, you know, make food for people that are hosting us, or just friends' house or family's house that I happen to be at, and they've got a couple of ingredients in their refrigerator and they're like, there's no food. And then I find, you know, like three things, and then I end up making a whole meal and everybody's just happy. That always makes me feel good. And a big pot of soup and a really good salad is always nice too. So this piece was inspired by like I think it was a Guatemalan blanket that we have. So the under part of it is all of those lines of color that are in that blanket, and then I had these stencils that I made into like what was reminiscent to me of some sort of like Navajo print. This is one of my favorite ones. It's literal, but not. I love the colors, you know, and because I know and I can look at the blanket, it's actually on my bed. I can look at it and I'm like, you know, just to see the inspiration live and direct is really, really just powerful. And then this is an experiment that I was doing with pigment, working with pigment. So this is without a paintbrush. It was just like, you know, the powdered pigment paint, and you sprinkle some on a piece of paper, and then you use a spray bottle with water, and you just kind of move the paper around until you can begin to make some sort of image, or you'll just know when to stop, and then you add more color and then start to get them to meld. And I really love how this one came out. I also see this on a t-shirt or like a baby onesie, like all over. So yeah, love the colors on this. And then this is my girl Sadie, who I think some of you've seen. I think I used it in another class. We got these little skulls when we went to like a Halloween celebration a couple of years back. And as you can see, I was very serious about mine and finishing it and She's like from my favorite era in fashion, at least one of them, the 20s, the roaring 20s. And I love the 20s, like New York, Harlem, especially, because everyone was always just dressed opulently. There was no detail missed. You had head adornment, perfect makeup, nails polished, the bath oils, bath salts. You were anointed beautifully, the beautiful shoes, the tailoring. It was just, everyone was dressed to the nines. Even people who were considered to live modestly had beautiful clothing. So this is, I don't know, she's kind of a melancholy flapper girl. Maybe she sells cigarettes. I don't know. But yeah, this is Sadie, and I picture her to have red hair. So if it was in color, she'd have red hair. So this is my girl. Get a top of the head shot. Yeah. So and then finally in indigenous psychology, this past intensive, we were doing clay work, and I was really trying to make what was it, the flute, but mine didn't make a noise, but it was just really beautiful to learn the process and how to do this. But this was the other piece that came out of it. And it's a little head. I don't know. It's just like, furrowed brow, the nose, and the open mouth. You could see it from the side. Yeah. So he was pretty cool to see that that was what came out of that. And then, I think my arts practice also shows up in like accessories, things of that nature. I just got these earrings the other day, which I love. And I love collecting, jewelry from friends and like, yeah, so it's on me. I'm always wearing some print. I'm always expressing it through my clothing somehow, like my socks or my earrings or the scent that I'm wearing that particular day, or a hat on my head, or outerwear, or, sunglasses. Yeah, I have some good ones. Oh, I do have some good sunglasses. Wait a second. So my really, really good friend, who's also does my taxes, her name is Claudia. She gets these really like nice frames, and she makes these glasses that are covered, encrusted in crystals. These happen to be, if you can see them, they're black tourmaline. And I love the frames. They're definitely winter glasses because they remind me of ski goggles. But yeah, I think part of my arts practice is also just appreciating and patronizing other people's artwork. But yeah, she blessed me with these, and I really do love them. And yeah, because I think you saw the ones that weren't encrusted when we did the whole thing with Bear. Those were, but these are like textured black all over, and this is just the tapa. So yeah, I love them. So that is my self-portrait. I don't think it was supposed to be like 20 minutes long, and I apologize. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Peace.